Hey, everybody. Welcome to your weekend guide to what to listen to, what to watch, and what to stream. Yes, it is a Sports Frenzy 2.0 weekend edition. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
This is going to hit on August the 20th, 2022, of course. Your lazy Saturday morning.
Yep, nursing your hangover with your coffee. Here you go, kids.
Yep. Put in some earbuds. It's about to get wild and crazy.
Stadium tour review. Joan Jett, Poison, Def Leppard, Motley Crue.
Yeah, this was a mixed bag. Now you would expect that with four different acts, but it's not in the way you would think. It was a mixed bag because of the sound quality. It was a mixed bag because for some reason Def Leppard came through better than the other three acts.
Yeah, big time better.
Sound was a little better. Performance came through a lot better. It's going to be an interesting discussion here. We got plenty of time to talk about the ins and outs.
We do, but we've learned. At one point, had traveled down to a lower level because we got the cheap seats to take the kids so they could afford to go. And the sound, they did not have it set up for the upper reaches of Lucas Oil Stadium. It was not a good sound quality, but even when you went down one level, it improved dramatically. So it's on the setup of the venue and the sound guys that they didn't set the whole place up correctly.
Now, we were center stage, but again, we were in the far upper reaches.
Yeah, in the opposite end zone of where the stage was set up.
Now, when we saw Guns N' Roses and Mammoth WVH there last year, we were one level down, and the sound was a lot better. Again, I wonder, though, if that was more on the band and their people knowing what they were doing. Was this stadium tour set up more for outdoor venues?
Potentially.
Than for indoor venues, because Lucas Oil did have the roof closed.
Yeah, and Mrs. C said a friend texted her when she found out we were there, and she goes, "Do they have the roof opened?" And my wife said, "No." It's like, oh, the sound is so much better for a concert when they have the roof opened. So that could have been part of the issue as well.
Yep. So again, starting off, we go first with Joan Jett.
Yeah, we did not get into the venue in time for Classless Act because of the security checkpoint slowdown.
Yeah, it was a cluster trying to find. We had to go all the way around to the far side of the stadium, which was fine. That got us closer to our seats, but every gate on the way there was packed. And you had to fight your way through and walk around massive lines. When if people had gone to the back gate, the south gate, there was no waiting. Yeah. But it just took forever to get around to the south gate.
Yeah. And yeah, getting people into these venues for a concert is an absolute nightmare. Yeah. That is a time suck from hell.
And they weren't even doing any kind of COVID testing. It was just the normal.
Yeah, just the normal. Try to get through the security
Take your keys
gates
out of your pockets kind of thing. And it was still taking too long. It's still taking forever.
Yeah, you would think they would have this down quicker, but no. They have not figured it out yet.
And the funny thing is, when you think about it, the logistics of it, again, we went all the way around to the south gate. You would think that's where most people would want to go because
the stage was set up on the north.
Right. Everybody was trying to push their way in on the north side, and that's where the stage was. So people were going to have to walk inside a mile to get to their seats, probably.
Yeah. So
whereas we had to walk up a mile, but we were at least finally, when we got to the
Close
South
there.
Gate, in
Yeah,
the
and
right
it-
place.
Yeah, and we got through pretty quick.
Yeah. Now, of course, yeah, I had issues with my phone. I talked about that on the bonus episode this week. Check that out as I tried to make up for the fact that our original normal episode was a little late. So, yeah, I have a great rant about digital tickets and Ticketmaster. So
Yeah,
check that
and
out, kids.
the BS that goes with it. All right.
So Joan Jett, we're not going set list.
No.
For the most part, this is greatest hits, except Def Leppard, of course, has Diamond Star Halos out. So they did play 3 songs off that album, the new album. Outside of that, it was all greatest hits from Joan Jett, Poison, and Motley Crue. So it's more about trying to grade the performances as a whole.
Yeah. Now, we've seen everybody before multiple times.
Except for Joan Jett.
Except for Joan Jett. This was the second time seeing her. She felt like an opening act.
Yeah, she didn't, even with the bad sound. And the bad sound pretty much overwhelmed, again, everybody but Def Leppard.
Right. But even performances sound notwithstanding, just the performances, she just kind of seemed to be going through the motions that night. She let her piano guy do the bulk of the talking.
I did not look that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Some old piano guy reminded me of Paul Schaefer from David Letterman's old band.
Yeah.
She let him, we could not understand dialogue. Not just the sound of the songs wasn't all that was garbled. Of course, that ended up being one of those concerts where all 4 acts wanted to talk to the crowd a lot more than normal, and we couldn't understand one word.
You got maybe every 3rd or 4th word being said came through in no coherent way.
Right. And again, like Dave said, maybe the lower levels could hear better.
Because they seem to be reacting really well to it.
Yeah. Well, we're all up there.
Like,
a lady behind us, I know at Motley Crue, when it got towards the end, she was yelling, "We can't understand what you're saying, Vince." And it wasn't Vince Neil, it was just the sound was so shitty.
Yeah.
Up where we were. I agree. Joan Jett did not have, it seemed like, again, we're going to discount the sound from now on, did not seem to have the same energy level, the same vibe she had when we saw her the last time, when she was with Cheap Trick and Heart.
Yeah.
And she was arguably the best of the 3 that night.
Right. Yeah.
And we're not taking anything away from the other 2.
No, but
Joan
she
Jett was great that night.
She was on. So it might have been her off night where maybe she just wasn't feeling
I think she knew, though. I think she knew the sound was not good, because at one point, about halfway through the set, she walked back and was talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Right off stage.
There was somebody came up with the gear and a laptop and seemed to be doing something up in our area. That was during the Poison set. And so things got tweaked for Def Leppard, but then it went back to hell for Motley Crue.
Yep. So Joan Jett was okay. Set list, pretty much what you expect.
Yep.
Poison, you could tell, again, Bret Michaels was trying so hard.
He was
energetic.
He was the energetic front man.
Trying to engage the audience every chance he got. The entire band seemed like they were into it.
They brought their A game. They probably had the most energetic performance out of anybody that night.
Yeah. And again, it's a shame we couldn't really understand the songs, and they, being the second band in, had to cut their usual set short.
Yeah.
So they played about an hour. So they left a couple songs on the table that you would normally hear. But again, I could tell they were trying their best.
Yeah.
And so again, sound quality notwithstanding here,
the performance
seemed like Poison put on a pretty damn good show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had the most energetic show
of
the 4 groups.
Then we go Def Leppard, and Def Leppard killed it. Def Leppard was by far the best band of the night.
Yeah, they were they put on their usual solid professional show.
Hour and a half. Played everything you would expect. As I mentioned, 3 songs off the new album. They did a one.
We got Kick, which was great.
Yep, and I loved opening with Take What You Want. I love that song off the new album.
That was awesome.
I did not. The one flaw to me in the entire show was the 2-song acoustic set they did when they all came to the front.
Yeah, they did.
Because they played that terrible country song off the new album.
Yeah, the one with the duet with
guitar,
Alison
This
Krauss.
Guitar Saved My Life.
Yeah.
And then they played Two Steps Behind, which has never been one of my favorites.
No.
So that kind of landed, for me at least, with a big, heavy, dull thud. So, but you take that out, unbelievable show. Great show from Def Leppard. They are never...
They never disappoint.
Yeah, they're never ones to disappoint.
No.
So, great show from Def Leppard. Then we get the weird,
bizarre,
disaster, glorious, wild,
what the hell,
Motley Crue show. This is going to take a few minutes for us to dissect, and we didn't stay for the whole thing.
No,
we'll admit it.
We left a half hour early because the sound was so bad, and the music was so good. It was the worst sound of the night.
Yeah, we got through an hour before we decided let's just beat the traffic.
We all had headaches. It was not enjoyable.
When you're getting halfway through a song, 4 hours of music anyway.
Yeah, when you were halfway through a song before you realized what they were playing.
Yeah, I did not even know. Now that you and I had a minute to discuss, Saints of Los Angeles
did not sound like Saints of Los Angeles.
I didn't even know it was Shout at the Devil until I saw the word shout show up on the screen in the back.
Yeah.
You could not hear any part of Shout at the Devil.
No.
It was so bad. The sound was so bad. Now, again, I know we keep doing this. Take the sound out. It was a very intriguing performance by Motley Crue. Vince Neil, from what I could tell, again, the sound is not his fault.
No.
Looked like his voice was better than when we saw them on the farewell tour.
Yes.
Back in 2015?
Yeah, 2015 was the farewell.
The band seemed like they had a decent energy level. The set was wild. They had beautiful dancing girls. Beautiful dancing girls. Now, you might not have appreciated this as much as I did. And I'm just saying this particular little thing that they did, I thought was very cool. On the video screens, there were 2 video screens on either side of the stage for all the bands. The way they had cameramen on stage filming the dancing girls, filming the band.
Yeah.
I think one was a midget. Oh, wait, I can't use that word. No, but the film was like almost grainy 70s cinema quality. It was not the clear, normal, crisp video you would expect. It wasn't boring.
If it would have been the grainy, that would have been fine. But they tried to do that whole Blair Witch shaking of the camera thing way too damn much, blurring stuff up.
I think they were going for almost like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type vibe when
part
it came
of it
to the
worked,
film
part
quality.
of it didn't.
So I thought that was kind of neat. And then, of course, going back to Def Leppard, it was obvious the big boys got to use the big toys.
Yes.
Because Def Leppard and Motley Crue got the laser show.
Yeah.
And the lasers for both were awesome.
Unbelievable.
Arguably the best laser shows I've ever seen between the two bands.
Def Leppard, where they had the moving wall going back from the back all the way back up to the stage. It was just the grid pattern that moved was really damn cool.
Yeah. And again, what would that have looked like, especially if you were out in downtown Indianapolis, if they'd had the roof open?
Oh, my God.
Seeing those lasers shooting up through the night sky.
That would have been cool as hell.
But
a missed opportunity.
Yeah, again, there were so many positives to all of the bands and the show as a whole. But again, there were enough negatives where you kind of sit there and go, like you just said, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Could have been one of the top concerts we've ever seen.
Yeah.
As it is,
it wound up being mediocre.
Yeah, Def Leppard, I will say, I have to separate Def Leppard from the rest. I have to say Def Leppard, I would give Def Leppard 3.5 frenzies.
Yes, have to for that.
The rest of the show as a whole, I'm going to lump the other 3 in together. That I'd probably go 2.5.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to go with an overall grade, I'll give it a week 3.
Yeah, week 3 frenzies. Overall.
Because again, the sound, last time I'll mention it, sound was really bad. Not Bon Jovi bad, but pretty damn close at a lot of points during this concert.
I think the sound was the worst for Motley Crue.
I agree. Definitely agree.
No, we did get Tommy Cam. Not as many females participated in flashing their tops as they would have in the past.
Yeah.
They had a few takers.
Yep. Some were fine. Some were
not so fine.
Look away. But yes, we did check this box. We did get to see the stadium tour.
Yep.
So a couple more concerts coming up in 2022. Next month is Stone Temple Pilots.
With
October.
Everclear.
Oh, I did not know this.
I believe it's Everclear.
I'd heard there were other bands that were going to be announced. I had not heard.
I heard Everclear was announced with STP.
This will be interesting then. This will be that'll be my 3rd time with Everclear. So, all right.
There we go.
And then October, of course, Queensryche and Judas Priest.
Yep.
In
That's
November,
a boys' night only.
November's the family reunion down in Indy with Jackal.
Yep. Looking forward to that one.
So we'll have a review a month for you here, kids.
Yep.
Up through the holiday season.
We won't disappoint you. We will be your concert connection where we can be. All right. Now, album review of the week. Collective Soul, Vibrating.
Dave and I consulted briefly on this last night.
Yeah.
In vague terms. And it sounds like possibly he and I are on the same page on this album, but I'm wondering if it's for the same reasons.
Which ones? It's one where I don't know how I want to feel about it. There's a lot of good, but then there's the bad as well.
Okay, as a huge Collective Soul fan, number one, 10 songs, a little short, given this day and age where usually you get 12 or 13 minimum. So that made me think, why is the album so short? And I after listening to it, I think they rushed it. And I'll tell you why. Because, number one, only 10 songs. Number two, the back half of the album feels like they're going through the motions.
Yeah, the back half, it's almost... Yeah, they rushed it. They didn't finish them off. They didn't put the effort into them.
Yeah, because if you go through, for me at least, now this is where you and I can either agree or differentiate our reviews here.
Yeah.
But I go through the first 6 songs from Cut the Cord through Rule Number 1, and I'm like, this is a really good Collective Soul album. This is a really solid, potentially classic Collective Soul album through the first 6 songs. Then I hit a conversation with, and I go, what the hell?
What?
This is one of the weakest.
Heads 80s pop.
This is
crap.
one of the weakest songs, if not the weakest song I have ever heard Collective Soul put out.
Yeah, I did not like that one at all. I will mostly agree with you on the first 6. I did not quite care for Rule Number 1.
I can see that. I was able to enjoy it because
Undone
obviously you're a music snob who doesn't like the strings and the little bit of a gentle feel to it.
It just didn't work for me.
I did like Rule Number One.
Undone kind of started.
Undone is fantastic.
It's okay.
It's the second best song on the album.
I would not go that far.
Yo, Undone has got the best hook I have heard in a Collective Soul song in decades.
We'll agree to disagree.
You got to tell me you at least loved Cut the Cord.
Love Cut the Cord. I liked Reason.
We've reviewed all our pieces.
Yep, that one was...
I like that more than you.
Yeah, that was still
it fits
in the
better.
top echelon.
It fits better in
Take,
the flow
I
of the album.
enjoyed. It was good.
Reason and Take, songs 2 and 4, reminded me of the old school Collective Soul. They had this structure of a lot of their older hits.
Yeah.
I disagree completely. Undone's fantastic.
It's
Undone
okay.
Is awesome.
It's okay.
I can understand your misgivings on Rule Number One.
Yeah,
even though I did like it.
But after that, it just kind of...
Now, Conversation With is weak.
Very.
Just looking around, I did tend to like it more as I listened to it more. I'm not saying it's a great song, but it got better on multiple listens.
It did, but still not to the Collective Soul that we appreciate.
Okay, so now here's where I think I'm going to justify what I said earlier about this album was rushed and they pieced it together when they had maybe half of a great album. Back Again, song 9, is a tremendous, tremendous song, but it's not an original.
No.
It appeared a couple years ago on their internet-only EP, Half and Half.
Okay.
So it's been out there for a couple years. I listened to this and I'm like, I know this damn song. I know this song from somewhere. And I looked it up again. A couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, they released Half and Half. I believe it was 5 songs.
And this
couple
was
covers,
one of them.
Couple originals. Back Again was one of the originals on Half and Half.
So they pulled that in. Filler.
Well, yes, you can call it filler. It's a fantastic song. And because it wasn't available to purchase anywhere, and it's hard to find on any music service. I don't even believe you can get it on Spotify.
Until now.
So it's a tremendous song to me. I love it. I think it's intense. I think it's a really cool slow burn, intense song. But it's got
that build.
Yes. But it proves to me again that something about this album was a little rushed. Why'd you have to pull that in and sandwich it in among 3 weaker songs?
See, that's where the final song, Where Do I Go?
Again, weak.
That had a potential. It missed the arrangement. They needed to polish that up a little bit more.
Yeah, again,
I did not like the arrangement on it.
Yeah, I didn't like the strings. I didn't like the hand claps. I didn't like the chorus.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one that they could have tweaked to make it better.
Yeah. So again, the second half is weak. Weaker than I would like from Collective Soul.
Yeah.
Again, I think, and we usually fall into this trap with certain bands. I like Collective Soul.
I thoroughly enjoy them.
I would probably give this a higher rating than you. I will give it 3 Frenzies.
At 2.5.
Yeah, see, I can tolerate a little bit more of the back half of the album probably than you.
Probably.
Especially Rule Number 1 seems to be the sticking point for us, whereas I liked it and you really didn't. And Undone. Undone is phenomenal.
Undone's okay.
Undone
over the top
could be one of my top songs of the year.
Well, there you go.
See?
That's why we agree to disagree.
Yeah. So 3 Frenzies from me, 2.5 Frenzies from Dave for Vibrating.
Still worth checking out for the good stuff on there.
Yep. Next week, we will review Jackal's new album, 30 coming in hot, 3 new songs, and a full concert album for you to enjoy, for us to enjoy and review for you next week. We'll also be talking about the brand new Billy Idol song, The Cage.
Yep. Heard it on the
EP.
radio coming back from the stadium tour. Liked it. Want to hear it a little bit more to be able to give you the review it deserves.
Yep. Yeah, one of the few times where radio actually came through over Spotify or a streaming service where that was the first time
that was a
anything
shocker
about this. I knew I had heard months ago that he was working on another EP.
Yeah.
To follow up his last 4-song EP. The EP is called The Cage as well. It will be out September the 23rd.
Yep.
Another 4 songs. Steve Stevens, his longtime guitarist, has already come out, as we could kind of guess from hearing the title track, that this is a much harder album or EP than the first one. Yep. So looking forward to that.
Yes, that is going to be enjoyable.
We will also discuss a new song from Tesla, Time to Rock. And Dave will play catch up with Sammy Hagar in the Circle.
Yep.
Crazy Times. And finally, we will review Bush's new single, More Than Machines, off their upcoming album, The Act of Survival, and David Lee Roth Van Halen tribute song, Nothing Could Have Stopped Us Back Then. Anyway, one of the longest song titles in frickin' history. God,
no kidding.
I need to take a drink in the middle of it. It's so long. I think saying the song title is actually longer than the song itself. The song's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
It takes 2:45 to get the whole damn name out.
Down the road, we're looking at, of course, Megadeth we've talked about here in the past. Scorpions have a new UK bonus track they've released here in the US. A couple weeks down the road, we'll review Hammersmith. We're looking into a new band called Black Swan.
Potentially that popped up. I can't remember the name of the song. It was like a week and a half ago. I'll figure out which one it was. We'll review that one. So always looking for something new.
Yeah, again, like with movies, we'll get to Licorice Pizza here in a little bit. But with a lot of this stuff, movies, music especially, I'm getting to the point now, I'm getting to the back half of my life, the back third. I don't have the goddamn time to waste on some of this stuff. So,
there's a lot of crap out there, people.
I know what I'm getting with Collective Soul. I know what I'm getting with Tesla. You know.
I know what I'm getting true.
So, yeah, I agree with Dave. We've got to find some new music. It's always great to find new bands and new stuff. But, man.
Sometimes it's really tough.
Yeah. Michael Schenker scarred me a little while back when we reviewed that.
That should have been a solid from back in the day, and he just went off the frickin' rails.
Yeah. Michael Schenker should have been a dependable listen.
Yeah, and it was depressing to find out what garbage they put out.
Just utterly generic. Oh, my God. All right, kids, that wraps up segment 1 for the weekend edition. Coming up next, TV and streaming. I will have my review of season 1 of The Old Man. We will also, in this segment, have a book review.
That's right.
From The Conquistador. So hang out, quick promo here, and we will be right back. Hello, this is Will Smith. You might know me as the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might also know me from Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. And now you must also know me as an Academy Award-winning actor for King Richard. Also by now, you know there are 2 things I do not like people talking about in my presence. Namely, my open marriage and my wife's lack of hair. Well, now there is a 3rd thing you do not talk about in front of Will Smith. You do not talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. My boys Kev and Dave will hit slap the sports world in Hollywood each and every week on Sports Frenzy 2.0 and the Weekend Edition on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher. Just remember, keep Sports Frenzy's name out your damn mouth.
All right, kids, welcome back to the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0. This drops Saturday, August 20th, as we record on August 18th, 2022. TV and streaming news from the Maestro and the Conquistador.
Yep, I have got my review finally. I know it's been wrapped up here for a couple weeks, but I finally got through all 7 episodes of The Old Man, FX show, of course, with Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow. This one is one of those few shows that kind of tears me both ways because, like Breeders, I've reviewed Breeders on this show before. It's like with TV, you can quit. If you don't like it, you just stop watching it.
Yeah,
You know,
you do that with anything.
We stopped watching The Flash after what? 6 seasons, 5 seasons, whatever it was.
I bailed before you did.
Same thing with Legends of Tomorrow. I know I'm picking on the CW, but you guys get the drift. You don't have to follow through on a TV show if it starts jumping the shark.
Right.
There is a certain level when it comes to a TV show where you go, I'm not going any further with this. I'm done. Then there's that bare minimum tolerance level, like I have discussed with Breeders, where Breeders is right a millimeter or two above.
It's just there where you want to know, are they going to get back to what sucked me in, or are they going to drop to the dregs and I'm going to just say F it?
Right. It's the show will have a certain quality, a certain strength, whether it's the characters, but maybe the writing's not all that sharp. That's how I kind of feel about The Old Man. Now, The Old Man came out first couple episodes, gangbusters. Action-packed. I
got through the first episode.
I actually thought it was kind of turning into an older man version of John Wick. And then it kind of gets talky, and the characters start discussing things, and they're using language and sentence structures that no normal people would ever use. Much more formal, much more rigid, much more mannered than like us, like Dave and I talk here on Sports Frenzy, where we curse, we swear, we yell at each other. It almost goes from a high octane potential to a stage play.
Sense and sensibility.
Almost like a stage play. Yeah. It feels like almost a stage play over the last 2 or 3 episodes.
Ugh.
Becomes much more drama heavy than action
heavy. But not necessarily in a good way on the drama front.
Right. It really lost, for me at least, lost a lot of its quality. I probably would have said it was a 3 to a 3.5 Frenzy show over the first couple episodes. And then it kind of just started sliding down, where now it's in that Breeders territory for me. When season 2 comes on, I might start watching season 2 to see if it picks up the pace.
Give one episode.
Yep. So I have to give The Old Man a 2.5 Frenzies, and that's about my cutoff for TV. If I'm rating something underneath 2.5 and I'm still watching it, then I should be in the dumbasses of the week every week.
Well, at this point, I am going to take a pass on finishing season 1 of The Old Man.
Okay, that's up to you. I'm obviously
like
giving
the first
you my honest review.
But if it doesn't go where it looks like it's going to,
I don't want to discourage you because
I don't want to waste my time.
There are some things, again, we look back at Collective Soul that I like that you don't, or I like more than you do. But maybe this would turn out to be something you like more than me.
Maybe I'm not going to push getting through it. There's other things that I need to do.
All right, that's your call. Now you make me feel bad. Now you make me feel like I have I'd rather have you watch Animal Kingdom.
That's the thing is I need to
Animal
finish
Kingdom,
Animal
far
Kingdom,
superior show.
and I need to get through the final season of Peaky Blinders.
Obviously, I know that's a passion for you.
That's right. So I've got to prioritize.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Animal Kingdom, far better than The Old Man.
Well, there we go. I got to prioritize. And if I come back to it, so be it. All right. Now, back in the day, before defunding the police kicked in and A&E got a bug up their ass and canceled one of the greatest weekend shows out there, Live PD, we've been in the doldrums. But now, Dan Abrams has resurrected the show, brought it back to reels. On Patrol Live, Friday and Saturday nights from 9 to midnight Eastern, you ride with the police departments in Nye County, Nevada, down in New Mexico, Beech Grove, Indiana, Richland, South Carolina, Patterson, New Jersey, couple places in Florida, including Volusia County around Daytona. It's awesome. Stupid criminals doing stupid things. See how the police try to be positive in their interactions and how people cop attitudes and things spiral out of control. Or if they're really cool and there's a good interaction, there's no issues. It's all about the individual. And then you got the people who decide they want to run or get into a car chase. It's very interesting. And you see a lot of stupid people doing stupid things. High entertainment value.
One of the saddest moments of the last 10 years when it comes to TV for me was the situation you talked about where everybody started freaking out about the police and they were canceling all these shows. And when Cops went away, Cops was my guilty pleasure. I could watch reruns of Cops for 3-4 hours, back to back to back to back. I just loved it. And I know it's on Fox Nation now, which you got to pay for, which is bullshit. Spike TV, may you rest in peace. I miss you because you used to have reruns of Cops running 8 hours a day.
Reels has the
I don't get Reels. I don't get Reels.
See, so that's brought it back. That's our Friday, Saturday entertainment for the last few weeks. That's the streaming, it's not really streaming because it's the channel that we get through cable.
Right.
But you could pick it up elsewhere. But yeah, it's good. Dan Abrams is back. Sean Sticks Larkin, who's from Oklahoma City Police Department's now retired. So he's out there doing it. And then they have one of the sheriffs from Richland, South Carolina on there. So breaking everything down. They do Crime of the Week where they try and get people to call in to say, hey, if you've seen this criminal, bring them back. They do Missing Children segment where they put the story out there to try and generate notice to help find these kids. And they have had some success with catching criminals and finding missing teens and kids because of everybody who's watching it and paying attention. So a lot of good comes out of it. So entertaining. Glad it's back.
I am a little jealous. I would like to get that fix back. I always loved those type of shows. Always loved them.
Yeah, and it's cool where you've got some of the same officers that they were following way back when it was Live PD. They're back with some of the same departments, and you have the same officers there, which is really cool.
There you go, kids. Check out. Now, is that every Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday night on Reels.
There you go. Check out the stupidity of the criminals of the world on Reels.
One of the greatest quotes from last weekend, guy in his underwear curled up on his car. police came to see what was going on, and his comment was, "I'm guilty until proven innocent." The dude was zonked out of his gourd.
Oh my God, how many times have we seen stuff like that on Live PD? Cops, they're always drunk or stoned. They're almost always drunk.
You can't make this stuff up.
No.
So,
all right, couple little TV and streaming tidbits, and then we move on to Dave's book review for the week. A little bit of literary frenzy for you. Do need to point out the much anticipated prequel series to the John Wick movies. The Continental, coming in 2023, possibly even before John Wick 4 hits theaters. The Continental will not be on Stars as originally planned, but will now shift to Peacock.
Woohoo!
Because NBC and Universal got the rights. Of course, they're Universal movies, so.
Right. So it makes sense.
Right. So why wouldn't the Continental be on a Universal-owned property?
And of course, it would be on Peacock, one of the worst streaming platforms out there.
Hey! Just because you don't like wrestling, don't rip on Peacock.
It's low to load. You're watching a show, if you have to pause it, it's 20 seconds before the pause takes place. When you go to play, it's 15 seconds before it starts back up.
But you have it through Comcast. See, I pay for the app for $5 a month. I don't have any issues with it. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I can watch any wrestling I want, and then I will get the Continental in early 2023.
And I will be watching the Continental.
And of course, next segment on Peacock, The Black Phone.
That's right.
All right, for the first time ever, getting some statistics here in for you, kids. Some numbers.
Backing it up.
Nielsen is reporting for the first time ever, July 2022, more people watched streaming than they did cable television.
Gee.
We knew it was coming.
I wonder why.
Well, again, though, the streaming services are starting to get cocky.
They're starting to raise their rates.
Yep, we talked about it last week with Disney. We'll see what Netflix does when they introduce their ad-based service, if they pull the same scam that Disney did.
Yeah, where the ad-based is going to be what you're currently paying, and then the ad-free is going to be twice as much. Uh-huh.
Yep. And then finally, before I let Dave go wild on books, I just wanted to point out, guesting this fall on Shark Tank will be Gwyneth Paltrow. So here's what I'm doing. Miss Goop. I'm going to apply to appear on Shark Tank. Not for Sports Frenzy, but, since she's famous for her vagina-scented candle, I'm going to propose butt crack air freshener. And if she shoots me down, I'm going to tell her I will never smell your goddamn candle again.
My nose will not be in your crotch anymore.
As John Mellencamp said, smells so good. I mean, hurts so good.
So
Sorry.
Good. All right. Literary frenzy here, kids. This week, Paul Doiron's Hatchet Island, the 13th installment of Maine Game Warden investigator Mike Bowditch. It's been an interesting series taking place in Maine. Doiron's character development has been pretty good. Of course, it's had some hits and misses through the series. But this one's kind of got a really good pacing to it as Mike and his on-again girlfriend, Stacy, who's the daughter of his mentor from the main warden service, they split up for a while, and she came back and realized what was missing, and they're kind of finding their romantic weekend camping trip to kind of try and solidify where they're going with their relationship. Gets sidetracked as they visit a bird sanctuary where she interned in college. And the murders investigation that they get sucked into, the quirky islanders who could be involved, might be involved, and the recluse famous photographer who's not noted. Yeah, not a good guy with a very checkered past for his indiscretions with another young man. Rears its ugly head in this tale. Like I said, really good pacing on this, good storyline. One of his better outings. I'll give it a 3. It's an enjoyable series. I kind of like it.
There you go, kids. 3 frenzies.
Yep, for Hatchet Island. Coming up in the next couple weeks, I will have the Matthew Riley finale of the Jack West Jr. series. So stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, and when I get my next book finished in about 5 months, it'll probably be Heat 2, which we'll discuss in the movie segment.
There we go.
I am working on the book that Dave just reviewed recently, David Baldacci's Dreamtown, but it's well over 400 pages, so that puts me at a finishing date of probably April the 14th, 2025.
Maybe Christmas this year.
Terrible news in the literary world. We should discuss this. And this has been hanging over his head for decades, but evil will always find a way. Evil will be patient. Evil will wait and wait for the right time. Author Salman Rushdie attacked in New York State this past week. A speech he was giving, stabbed in the neck by, I don't know what you want to call him, fanatic, nut job.
Yes, super wacko.
Ever since he put out the Satanic Verses decades ago, he's had, what do they call it, a fatwa on him, a bounty, basically, a contract, a hit.
Yeah, from the Muslim world.
Yep. And it looks like he is going to recover, but he's going to lose an eye, it sounds like. Not good news.
No, not at all.
And again, we've talked on this show a lot about censorship and how we're anti-censorship. Dave, especially given what he does for a living, has to deal with it more often than I do. But whether you like the opinion, whether you don't like the opinion, you know,
there's something out there for everybody.
There's idiots in the media. They shouldn't be censored. If they were censored, how could we ridicule them and make fun of them?
Exactly.
See? So I don't want to censor the morons on MSNBC or CNBC or
Fox or CNN or CBS, NBC, any of your news outlets.
Just make fun of them. Don't troll them. That's different.
Don't be that
Don't
asshole.
be the guy in your parents' basement. Be literate. Be creative like Dave and I are when we do our dumbasses, when we go through our shows and we rip on, point out the idiots of the world.
The hypocrisy, the stupidity.
What would we do on Sports Frenzy if it wasn't for the dumbasses in the sports world, in Hollywood? Go ahead.
In the government.
Yep. Talk about what you want, write what you want, film what you want, and we'll call it out when it's stupid.
But
and idiotic.
everybody has the
But we're not
right.
going to attack. Nobody should be attacking somebody and putting their life in jeopardy because they don't agree with what somebody said.
Nobody should be censored. You should be able to have a civil discourse. You should be able to agree to disagree. Things are written, things are out there because there are segments of the population that need to be represented. Regardless if you personally agree or not, somebody out there wants that particular topic. Let it go, people. Mostly you damn conservative, idiot, moron politicians trying to ban everything in the world. You speak for very few people.
See, you guys think we only rip on the liberals.
No, the people in Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, here in our own state, the push to try and ban books. Oh, but they don't believe in banning books. They just don't want them out there. Same damn thing, people. It's frustrating as hell.
Yep, it is, because I get tired of the narratives. I get tired of this will cause people to feel a certain way that's destructive. This will cause people to act in a certain way that's destructive. I still don't understand or believe or want Song of the South banned. You have to deal with the situation, the era of that time.
You have to
embrace
the history. Deal with it.
You can't just decide to make movies where the slaves are noble and they triumph over their white masters. Sometimes a movie like Song of the South is necessary. It's needed for multiple reasons.
You have to know where we came from to know where we're going and learn from history so it doesn't repeat itself. But we're seeing that happen over and over and over again because you try and cancel it out and you don't learn your damn lessons.
You can say that about, we've talked about music in the past, that awful era we went through with Tipper Gore and the heavy metal bands, the 80s bands, Twisted Sister, Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne, the PMRC, labeling albums, labeling records. Yet look where we are now. Listen to the radio now. Listen to a pop music station right now. And listen to how many
times. It's 100 times worse than what was going on back then.
How many times a song's got to be bleeped out because of the F-bombs that are being dropped.
Or whatever other lyrics are being used.
But that's okay now. But back then, they wanted to ban the music, get rid of the acts, get rid of the bands. Like Dave said, don't be hypocrites. Be aware of history. Do not repeat the mistakes of the past. Learn from them. And that is your Sports Frenzy 2.0 lesson of the day.
That's right. Your PSA.
Oh, fuck. I hate PSAs. Can't watch my goddamn sports show in the morning without having to wade through 45 minutes of PSAs every fucking morning.
There we go.
Our PSAs are cool, though.
That's right.
All right, speaking
Free
of cool,
baby.
Speaking of cool, movie reviews coming up next. One cool one, at least. The Black Phone. I will have my rant about Oscar-nominated movies that you've been dying to hear, kids. And, of course, a couple dumbasses and a couple moments of silence, one of which will not be an official moment of silence. Hang out with us for just a little bit more. We'll be right back. Are you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 with a tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kev Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, because Sports Frenzy said so. All right, kids, time to wrap things up here on the weekend edition, Saturday morning, August the 20th, 2022. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And as always, we would be remiss if we didn't point out some of the fantastic, spectacular podcast platforms where you can find us. Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and Stitcher! Check out our Facebook page. Send us a message. Send us a comment. Just don't be a troll. Nobody
likes trolls. Trolls belong under a bridge.
All right. Movie review of the week that we both watched on Peacock recently in theaters, based on the Joe Hill story, The Black Phone. Ethan Hawke doing his creepy serial killer turn.
Yep, child abductor.
The Grabber
in late 70s Colorado. Wow. This one, very great pacing to it. Very intense. It kept you entertained on the edge of your seat. You couldn't look away. You had to know what was gonna happen. And of course, like with any Joe Hill, Stephen King, there is the psychic element that comes into play.
And of course, Joe Hill, if you don't know out there, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son.
Yes. A very good author in his own right. Has done some good things, but
I was almost looking for, when I heard it was set in Colorado, I was almost looking for a Shining connection of some sort.
That would have been intriguing.
Yes.
But no, this stands alone on its own without any connection to that. And yeah, serial child abductor.
It is very well done.
Yeah. There's so much we could talk about, but we don't want to because it would give too much away.
Right. Spoiling things is not something that we do.
No, but
we hate spoilers. We prefer that everybody discover this stuff, movies and books, on their own.
Yes.
We don't want to give plot points away.
Everything ties in together, though. It all comes full circle.
Again, like Dave said, very well done in terms of pacing. For what it is, it's very well written, very well acted. Yes, we have the supernatural element that comes into play.
It's just a damn good movie.
I had a couple minor problems, which again we can't discuss. I'll have to ask Dave off mic, because again it would spoil too much.
There are a couple of things that
one big plot point jumps out at me that I'll have to bounce off of you.
It might be the same one I'm thinking of.
But again, given all of the crap that we've been subjected to for the most part from the movie theaters, from Hollywood, they're blaming COVID. They're saying, well, we had so much stuff that, we couldn't get produced, that now we're just kind of pushing out the dregs and
no, you have stuff that was done that you haven't even bothered to finish editing. Get it out now. Quit being the pretentious bags that you are Put up or shut up.
So luckily, the black phone is one of those few solid efforts
Yes.
that we have luckily been able to watch over the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, this is one of the better movies that we have seen in some time.
So I give it a solid 3 frenzies.
Yes, concur completely
And
with a
again,
solid 3.
Again, we're sorry. We're trying to give you as much as we can on the movie without giving away the plot. So we are being intentionally vague in certain respects.
So, needless to say, it revolves around the grabbers. I think it's safe to say last victim.
Yes, and how his past victims
play
come
a
back
role
to get some sort of vengeance.
Yes,
say that.
There's our supernatural impact.
So check out The Black Phone on Peacock.
You will not be disappointed, kids.
Yes, one of the better horror movies in recent memory. Now I get to talk about Licorice Pizza.
We've talked about this. Why do you continue to subject yourself to these award-nominated films?
Yes, kids, it's time for Sports Frenzy 2.0, the Maestro's therapy session. As I lay down on the couch, and the conquistador has his pad of paper and pen sitting in his chair.
What a dumbass. What a dumbass. What a dumbass.
I keep convincing myself that I can figure out what Hollywood is thinking with these movies that they praise and they heap all of this adulation and love on. Yes, I got burned badly on Nomadland. Got burned on The Power of the Dog, although not quite as badly. The Conquistador, of course, couldn't even stomach more than half an hour of it.
You gotta know when to fold them,
kids. For some reason, I decided maybe I'll give Licorice Pizza a shot. Yet another Oscar-nominated film, Best Picture nominee. Let me say that I'm talking about Best Picture nominees. So the supposedly the creme de la creme, the best of the best, and I'm still always subjected to the cinematic equivalent of a turd after a Mexican dinner. Licorice Pizza is on the surface supposed to be a growing up tale taking place in the 70s on the West Coast.
No.
You've got a child actor, 15-year-old child actor at the beginning who bumps into this woman working at a function at his school. And eventually we find out, oh, she's like in her mid-20s. And guess what the rest of the movie's basically about? Them falling in love. 25-year-old woman, 15-year-old boy.
Gee.
Not a hint of creepiness projected at all at this.
Isn't this what Hollywood has been vilifying in the Me Too movement? Isn't this what teachers across the country are getting railed on for doing?
Arrested,
male and female teachers, both. And you're praising this movie about this topic? Really? Really? Do you not see the freaking disconnect here? Boggles the freaking mind, the hypocrisy coming out of Hollywood.
Yep. Oh, and when I always try to go on IMDb to look at the comments on a movie like this, because again, I want somebody to explain to me, what did I miss? Why do other people out there feel the same way as I do? And usually I'm right. Usually I'm validated. Somehow they skew these numbers and they make a movie look a lot better than the reviews I read and the ratings that they give it would lead you to believe. I think Licorice Pizza on IMDb is in the 7 range. Yet every review I saw, 7 out of 10, every review I saw, I went through the first 10, 12 reviews were 4, 3, 5, 4, 3. You know?
That seems kind of high.
Well, here's what I will give it this. It is not as bad as Nomadland for one reason. The characters are mildly entertaining.
And they're not taking a dump in a bucket.
Yeah, they're not taking a dump in a bucket. Nothing crude or stupid like that. There are a couple guest appearances. One works really well. One is kind of stupid. Sean Penn shows up at one point.
Oh, God.
As some kind of big shot action movie star. It's a pointless little sequence in the movie where the woman is trying to find herself, the 25-year-old woman, and he somehow latches onto her at a party or some function. And all she can do is sit there and go, do you think I'm sexy? Do you think I'm sexy? Do you think I'm sexy? Well, of course, he's a Hollywood movie star, so all he cares about is himself and impressing people. So he goes out with her. They do a stupid stunt on a motorcycle. It's pointless, absolutely pointless. A lot of the
pretentious Hollywood.
A lot of the movie is about selling waterbeds, believe it or not.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy.
Now, the one other guest star who actually pulls off his performance much better than Sean Penn is Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper appears as the crazy Hollywood producer John Peters. And so they're trying to deliver a waterbed to him. John Peters, of course, very famous for dating Barbra Streisand. And Bradley Cooper basically portrays him as an off-his-rocker nut job. And so, of course, he treats the kids badly when they show up.
So the kid delivers the waterbed. The kid is a waterbed delivery guy.
No, he's the one that came up with the idea. So he's actually running a waterbed store. But of course, it's a small business, so he's delivering with his friends, and the woman, he's roped her into it. They're doing phone sales. And because John Peters treats them badly because he's going out on a date with Barbra Streisand or doing something, he leaves. He keeps insisting, don't screw up my house, don't screw up my house. So, of course, they go in and they're so mad at him because he treated them badly that they just let the hose run right in the middle of the bedroom. But, of course, they think they're going to get away with it. There's a gas crisis going on. Nobody can get gas. So, of course, they get about 100 yards down the road trying to make their escape, and the truck runs out of gas. And, of course, Peters finds them. But Peters doesn't know what's going on in his house because he's also run out of gas. I mean, it's just a really bizarre, pointless movie. There's no point to any of this.
Nothing makes any damn sense.
And at the end, of course, the lovebirds, the perverted lovebirds, I'm sorry, in my opinion, finally get together and kiss. I didn't look up the actors or actresses. I didn't care outside of the two big name ones. I give it 1.5 frenzies. And again, I have got to get over this wasting my time with bad music, bad TV shows, bad movies. I've got to get past this. And if something sucks, I got to cut the cord, call it quits, be done with it.
Exactly. Follow collective soul's wisdom.
Cut the cord.
Cut the cord.
Cut the cord. So 1.5 frenzies for
God, that
Licorice
just sounds
Pizza.
Abysmal.
Coming up, Dave and I are going to try to score brownie points. We're going to watch The Lost City with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. He's going to try to score brownie points. I'm just going to try to be a good friend.
Yep, and we're not going to lie. We're trying to get our ratings up here to increase our viewership.
And then we'll have story time within the next couple weeks involving the movie Heat.
Yes.
And it will tie into Literary Frenzy.
Coming down the line.
Yep. So we will revisit the great crime classic Heat within the next week or two. Before we move on to Moments of Silence, we have to discuss the elephant in the Hollywood room. She does not deserve a moment of silence. I don't
No.
give a goddamn what anybody says. All these praising, adulating articles about Anne Heche, you can kiss my ass.
I'm sorry, she does not deserve any of that.
If you
She
don't know,
brought this crap upon herself.
we talked about it last week. Anne Heche, of course, car accident, hit a parking garage, then hit a house.
Yeah. Hit the parking garage, drove away from that accident, hit and run, leaving the scene of an accident, and then crashing a second time, effectively killing herself and almost killing the resident of the house she ran into, causing a massive fire.
And of course, they ruled it an accident. The coroner's office ruled it an accident.
No, bullshit.
Even though narcotics were found in her system and she had been on a podcast a couple hours beforehand bragging about drinking vodka with wine chasers.
And how much she was drinking. Podcast has since been pulled.
Even though the podcast host, of course, was another one of these people. Oh, poor Anne. We're going to miss Anne so much. Yeah, why didn't you tell her?
Why didn't
dial
you
it down
her?
On the drinking, Anne?
Why didn't you get her an Uber to get her home? You knew how drunk she was. Again, Hollywood entitlement run amok.
There is no moment of silence for Anne Heche. We will not condone what she did. We will not give her a moment of silence. We reserve those for people who actually accomplished something in their lives and died in a somewhat peacefully normal way. Not somebody who could have killed somebody. And this is why Dave and I get so mad about this. Not only the stupidity of the Hollywood press, people like Alec Baldwin. Oh, a bright shining light is gone.
No, she wasn't a bright shining light.
Dave and I personally know somebody who lost a son to a drunk driver. We will never, ever, ever condone or acknowledge anybody who has done this in a positive light.
No.
We will call them out. We will call them dumbasses. We will call them stupid and even evil. We're not going to call them bright and shining lights that will be missed.
No. I'm sorry. That is not a case. That is not somebody that you should be praising like this.
I look at it this way. The analogy I've come up with is this. If Anne Heche had a gun, walked into a shopping mall, started firing shots at random, didn't hit anybody, then turned the gun on herself and killed herself, what would Hollywood's reaction be?
Effectively the same thing.
Because this is exactly, to me, the same thing as what she did. We know Hollywood hates guns.
Yep. But she was drunk as a skunk, loaded up on other drugs, and crashed twice.
There should be no praise, definitely no moment of silence.
No.
This is the last we will talk about this. All we're going to say to wrap this up is don't drink and drive. Don't do drugs and drive.
And this is what's wrong with Hollywood.
We were talking about those PSAs earlier. That's part of the shit that I get tired of. Because there's PSAs out there that kind of jokingly say, well, man, if you're smoking pot, you really shouldn't drive. Yet if it's drinking and driving, they make it look like you are the scum of the earth.
Yep.
And you should be locked away forever. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying all of it needs to be condemned. Stop acting like pot smoking is such a great and glorious thing. I will still say it's a gateway drug, and you're not going to change my mind on it. I don't care. I know people who smoke pot. I don't care. I don't like it. I think it's a gateway drug.
It's just as bad as drinking, kids.
All right, going to the real moments of silence here on Sports Frenzy, the weekend edition. Going back to the world of books for a moment. This is kind of an odd one, but I thought I had to mention him because as Dave works in the library system, I used to work for the now defunct Walden Books. So there was a certain period of time where I still follow books, obviously. I still know when my favorite authors put stuff out. But of course, back then I had to know all the books. Doesn't matter if it was romance, action,
Biography,
sci-fi,
whatever.
And I remember when I was working at Walden Books right around that time, one of the biggest novels to come out was The Horse Whisperer.
Oh, God.
And the author of The Horse Whisperer, Nicholas Evans, who is known for writing a lot of goopy crap.
That's a good way to put it.
But unfortunately, it was a lot of goopy crap that sold a lot and made him a boat ton of money.
Yes, it did.
He did a lot of like holiday books too, didn't he?
He
Like
did.
little holiday books, little shorts, tiny holiday books.
A lot of those Hallmark movies were based on his stuff.
So there you go. Moment of silence for Nicholas Evans. Like Dave said, we're trying to expand our audience. Now, moving on to a little more masculine stuff for the other moment of silence I've got for us this week. One of the actually most underrated directors of the past 30 years, Wolfgang Petersen, passed away. Wolfgang Petersen, of course, known for Air Force One, The Perfect Storm, and unfortunately, we think of it more as a reference to Beer Fest, but Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Das Boot. But yeah, Wolfgang Petersen has an impressive resume in terms of movies he's directed.
Yeah, I was
directed.
Yeah, I was looking at the list. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Dude was prolific.
Yep. Very, very underrated director.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers to the family and the friends of one Wolfgang Petersen. All right. Time to get out of Dodge, kids. We got 2 quick dumbasses. And then we will bid you adieu for another week. Number 1, don't Google Instagram Tommy Lee penis. Because that's what you're going to get. A picture that Tommy Lee posted, the drummer of Motley Crue, on Instagram last week. Yeah, captioning it at the end with oops.
Because that's not an oops.
Instagram has a strict no nudity policy. But of course, Tommy Lee had to put his junk out there for the world to see. Dumbass.
Big time dumbass.
Great reaction, though. I told Dave before the concert the other night, somebody posted, hey, I see Geddy Lee is trending for his bass. And then Tommy Lee's trending for his organ.
And you had some of the women at the stadium tour yelling at Tommy when he was trying to get girls to flash their tits. They were yelling, hey, Tommy, flash your dick.
Oh, Tommy. A lovable dumbass, but a dumbass nonetheless.
Exactly.
And then finally, kids, be careful when you're naming the next hot disease, because you might offend an animal.
That's right.
It isn't enough that the World Health Organization pretty much botched the handling of COVID. Do you think they would come out now and try to show themselves as a little more professional, a little bit more mature in their handling of the latest new terrible disease? Monkeypox? No. The PC police got a hold of the WHO, those dumbasses, because now the WHO says they are putting together a forum
to come up with a name for this new pox, because monkeypox is offensive to the monkeys.
The WHO says they are trying to avoid discrimination and stigmatization of any animal group, but in this case, the monkey. Because people in third world countries where there are actually monkeys.
Did they actually ask Mickey Dolenz if he was offended as the last remaining monkey?
They could change the spelling. They could change the spelling and wait for Mickey Dolenz to die because there wouldn't be anybody left to sue him.
That's right. My God, the stupidity of it all.
Yes, because now when we name our viruses, our diseases, we have to make sure we're not upsetting the animals. Because then we have to put the monkeys in sensitivity training.
That's right. God forbid.
Oh, people are such dumbasses. In this case, the World Health Organization, and that is it.
Why do the 99% who aren't offended keep caving in to the 1% who are offended?
What have I always told you? The great quote, the classic quote. I don't know if it's Darwin. I don't think it's Darwin. But the meek shall inherit the earth. This is why. Because they will guilt you. They will cajole you. They will connive. They will manipulate the strong into always apologizing, always caving in, always giving up rights. And that's what we're seeing right now. The meek will inherit the earth. The 1%.
That goes beyond that. This goes well beyond that. This goes well beyond that.
Yep.
This is bullying. This isn't the meek. This is the bullying coming out.
But we're here always for you to call out the idiots, the insipid, the stupid, the moronic,
the hypocrisy.
Check out the regular Sports Friendly edition for the morons in the sports world. And of course, come back here next Saturday morning as we will call out the morons in Hollywood.
Once again.
He's the maestro. I'm the maestro.
You're the maestro. I'm the conquistador.
Hey, I'm the maestro.
It's been a long day, kids.
Yeah, I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
Hope you enjoy your weekend. We will. And we will check you out next Thursday, regular Sports Frenzy, next Saturday morning, the next weekend edition. Take care, kids.
Bye-bye.